Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy Easter. Happy Thanksgiving. You know, it's interesting that all of these days start with the term happy or merry. Yet we never seem to start Lent with the exclamation, Happy Lent. I suppose it isn't as attractive in our minds to think of this season of Lent as being happy. A call to remember our own death, when in the liturgy we hear these words, remember that you are dust, and to dust you shall return. It doesn't always engender the idea of happy within us, does it? The day before Ash Wednesday, Fat Tuesday, seems to always invoke the idea of happy. This is the last day of the season of Mardi Gras, beginning after Epiphany with the Three Kings, where we have celebrated the birth of Jesus, and continues until the last day known as Fat Tuesday. This is the day where we eat as much as we can of the very things that we are about to give up the next day. This seems to be in line with my own sensibilities. I think of a recent image in my own life. You see, I love cake. And all kinds of cake, and especially cupcakes, and especially Publix cake. One might call this a serious sweet tooth, but those who know me best would really tell you that the truth is, it's a sugar addiction. My wife Lisa, not too long ago, responded to my request for a piece of cake from the store, and rather than purchasing one slice of cake for $4, she opted to get the 6-pack of cupcakes for the same price. She fully expected me to share these with my daughters, and I did. After dinner, I had one, and my daughter had one. But by the time I had gone to bed, Lisa asked me this question. Did you eat 3 cupcakes? I said, I did. And then she asked me, did you eat 4 cupcakes? And I replied, yes, I did. And then she asked me the final question. Did you eat 5 cupcakes? In my hesitation, she could hear my small confession of my total lack of self-control as I exclaimed, but I shared one. In thinking of this story, I'm always aware that although I truly enjoy Publix cake, there comes a point in which the actual enjoyment is lost. My lack of self-control literally degrades the amount of pleasure I ought to be able to enjoy from such a treat. And isn't this the case in all of our lives? The things in this world that we enjoy and are meant to enjoy can end up depriving us of the very freedom to enjoy them. This is precisely because our desires are supposed to point us not to this world, but to the world to come. This is the purpose of Lent, to reorder ourselves to God's kingdom, to the world to come, to practice detachment from the things of this world so we can be truly free to live in it. And this method of reordering ourselves, of reminding ourselves what we are truly meant for, is found in the practices of Lent, which the Lord teaches us in today's gospel. To give alms to the poor is to be detached from worldly wealth and selfishness. Happy are we when we are not addicted to materialism and consumerism, and when the things which make us self-centered and isolated from our neighbors are now freely given to others. Giving alms is meant to reorder us to the love of our neighbor. To pray is to enter into a deeper relationship with God. We give up control of our lives and entrust ourselves to His will. Happy are we when we are not addicted to our own way, to controlling our own plans, and instead we are reordered to God's will and to His kingdom to come. To fast is to enter into a right relationship with ourselves, when we recognize that God's best for us is when we are truly free from the things in this world which can control us. Happy are we when we are not addicted to good feelings, or to constant affirmations on social media, or to entertainments, or even to cupcakes. All of these Lenten disciplines are given to us with this one phrase, "And your Father, who sees in secret, will reward you." This Lent, God is calling us to a deeper trust in Him, to a deeper hidden life in prayer, to a deeper relationship that will bring us the freedom of being His sons and His daughters in right relationship with Him, with ourselves, and with our neighbor. We hear in the psalm, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." This is the beginning of our Lenten journey, our inner cry for things to be put right within us. And God's response comes from the first reading, that we should rend our hearts and not our clothes. The real work He desires is in our hearts, and not so much in our outward acts. But isn't it interesting that we first begin with outward acts? We begin with outward signs, the sign of the cross made upon our forehead with ash. This isn't to show the world for the rest of the day how holy we are, but rather to show the world our utter need for God, for His grace and His mercy. We proclaim with this sign not only that we ourselves are dust, and to dust we shall return, but also, as St. Paul reminds us and tells us, that now is the acceptable time. Now is our day of salvation. As we come forward today to receive these ashes, notice the rug that's on the floor in front of the altar. This is the rug that is placed at every funeral mass. The body of the deceased is brought here before the altar on this rug. So as we come forward to receive these ashes and to hear these words, "Remember you are dust, and to dust you shall return," understand that this is meant to free us, to begin our Lenten disciplines on the journey to a deeper life in God's love. And just as Jesus endured the cross for the joy that was set before Him, we too can endure a season of giving, of prayer, and of fasting for the joy of Easter to come. It is with this view in mind, the image of Easter and the image of resurrection and eternal life, that we can now say, Happy Lent.